All right, all right. Welcome back to another Tenement TV. We have some very, very, very special guests here today. We have our guy Jeff from Fantasy Football Forecast, Sam from Wolf Sports, friend of the program, Bobby Digital, from his own enterprise and sports wagering compound. So, guys, how are we doing today? We're here. We're going to talk some NFL week 7, college football, week 8 stuff. A lot of sports topics right now on the calendar. No shortage of things to kind of get into. So I will start with Jeff. How are you doing out there? You're in North Carolina, right?
Yes, sir. Let me see if I can get that logo there for you. I would play some PD Pablo for you. I don't know how we can do on playing music, but I'd raise up, take that shirt, and twist it around my head like a helicopter. But yeah, I'm happy to be here out of North Carolina, and yeah, this is the best time of year for sports. We got postseason baseball, we got college football, college basketball starting soon. Even I saw the Tar Heels just dominate earlier last 2 days ago. So they're going to be exciting this year. Maybe we'll talk about another day. But yeah, thank you for the invite today. I'm ready to jump in whenever you guys are. This is going to be fun. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Sam, how are we doing? The Bears looking good right now. You should come in, in good spirits. Your fantasy team,
You
Arrow,
know,
Arrow trending up in the Wolf Sports
the Wolf
Fantasy
Sports
League.
League it is trending up in my big high school friends league. I mean, I'm 1-5, I believe. My second round pick or third round pick, Sam Laporta, is not doing absolutely anything. Bijan Robinson's nowhere to be found. But other than that, guys, we're great. I mean, the Bears are playing great. We got the best quarterback under 25 years old. So yeah,
All
it's
right,
great.
well, Bob, reporting live from an undisclosed location, maybe in a sportsbook parking lot. We can't be certain. So, how are
Guys,
we
he's
doing?
actually at ESPN headquarters.
Yeah.
Right. Uh, doing great, doing great. Yeah, undisclosed location today. Happy to join the program.
Zach, can you hear him?
Yeah, cut out there for a little
Oh,
bit,
yeah.
but
Yeah, just
Ah,
you got me. You got me.
yeah, we got you
Yeah,
now.
cool.
Yeah, they might have been trying to. They're limiting your bandwidth now and your
mm,
bankroll, so we got
Yes.
both of those factors going on. But yeah, no, let's jump into it. So, as a lot of times on Thursdays, what we like to start with Thursday night football. Tonight we have Denver going into New Orleans, the Sean Payton revenge game that everybody had circled on their calendars, I'm sure. Coming back, the all important Spencer Rattler versus Bo Nix quarterback showdown that really is just can't miss TV. So right now, the Saints are sitting at a 2.5 point dog at home, total around 37. Guys, I don't know if anybody, whoever wants to start here, if you had any strong opinions on this Thursday night matchup tonight. Um, Jeff, I'll let you go ahead and start.
No,
Get us
thank you. I
started.
appreciate it. From a fantasy and a betting aspect, the one thing that sticks out is obviously we make prop bets off of algorithms. Well, how do you factor algorithm with Olave out, Shaheed out, and Taysom Hill out? Those are three of the most important weapons on that team. So last week, Bub means business. He had 8 targets, 5 catches, got in the end zone, 40 yards. They throw his prop up this week at 31.5. Now, I don't think anybody's going into the coaches' meeting saying, let's stop Bub Means. They're going to talk about Alvin Kamara. Let's stop him, right? So 31.5 seems like a gift. I think it's up to 35 now, 35.5. So look around and 3.5 catches. I don't see how Bub doesn't do it again. They got Mason Tipton starting with him, and Bub practiced in the preseason with the Rattlesnakes. So I think he's got that kind of rapport already built with him. So Bub means business. I think let's not, as TLC used to say, let's not chase waterfalls. Let's stick to the rivers and streams we're used to, and that's a nice, easy Bub Beans bet. What do you guys think about that?
I know.
no,
I think.
I'll
Sam?
let you go, Bob.
Yeah, I know. In terms of the prop market in the NFL, Injury situations like what the Saints are going through right now does typically mean opportunities if you are able to manage your projections and project, target share. The Saints at some point in this game are going to have to pass. At some point they can't just give the ball to Alvin Kamara a bunch of times, or infinite number of times in this game. They're going to have to get other people involved, and that target share has to go to someone. So projecting something, connection possibly from training camp or the preseason with Bum Means. We did see him get involved last week as well after the injuries kind of came in as well there. So that's something to consider, as well as, possibly projecting tight end usage with Johnson and Foster Moreau as well. So just if you have that ability to, project and kind of, look at previous performances and whatnot and do that, there's definitely going to be opportunities on the New Orleans side as well, projecting those props. And I know Kamara is pretty banged up as well. He's giving it a go and playing, but he's not 100% either. I mean, it's truly a mash unit for the Saints all the way around. And that's why you've seen a bunch of service releases and professional money come in on Denver, laying, pick 'em type numbers. And, there is even some threes flashing right now on that game, which is absurd to think of Bo Nix as a road favorite in an NFL game right now, even if Spencer Rattler and a banged up Saints team are on the other side.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that Olave is out. Have they said, is Patrick Surtain out?
Surtain's out. Yeah, Surtain's out for the Broncos, and then
they had two cornerbacks that were banged up. I'll check to see.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure Shaheed's going to be out for the Saints at receiver too.
And Taysom Hill out as well. So
yeah,
this is going to be a snooze fest. I mean, I think the top 5 players, collectively on both the teams are out. So at least the skill positions, and the best player on the field, Surtain, is out. So I don't know. I agree with them. I find it hard to believe that Denver is should be that big of favorites. I would avoid this game. I wouldn't bet on this game. I could very well see a 12 to 9 win.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on this with any of your money.
Yeah.
No.
Well, like I said, the Spencer Rattler, Bo Nix, I know they faced each other in college, I believe, right? Whenever it was
possibly Auburn, South Carolina.
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Auburn, South Carolina. They would have gone head to head at some point.
It's possible. I mean, and
not that I would use any of that information for any angles tonight.
I can't wait to hear KG Al Michaels with this game.
Yeah. I feel like this is maybe one that they'll get bored now. I do know something that I've looked for sometimes on some of these snoozer Thursday night games is looking at kicker props or teams that maybe stalling out in the red zone, move the ball, but then kind of stall out. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts there on maybe we see some good kicking action here tonight?
You're in a dome, so
right.
Perfect weather conditions. In that sense. So yeah, 2 quarterbacks you can't really trust to put a full drive together. All the Saints drives where they scored their 27 points last week against the Bucs were on short fields. I mean, go look at those drive charts. 18 18-yard drives, 20-yard drives. That's how they because they didn't score in 3 of the 4 quarters against Tampa, even though they had 27 points. They only scored in a short period of time in that second quarter, and then included, I believe, a punt return TD in that game. So you didn't see a lot of long sustained drives. So adding, maybe an over 1.5 field goals. I mean, maybe that's for each kicker or something. Maybe that's a prop play, but I'm not doing it. That's a decent look, though.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel the same way here. I mean, it's maybe not the most inspiring matchup. Bob, is there anything on the college front tonight that maybe we could keep an eye on for the Thursday night preview, or if not, we can just move right on into the weekend. So if you don't like anything from a Thursday night college perspective.
I'm interested in watching the games, actually, quite frankly, more than I am, the NFL game. I think these games are more competitive, more interesting. Boston College and Virginia Tech on an ACC battle. Again, nothing there. We've seen Virginia Tech get bet out a little bit from 7 out to 7.5, 8, and maybe a little under money's come in there. And then Georgia State Marshall. We saw Marshall featured on Scott Van Pelt's Bad Beats earlier this week. Up 23-3 against Georgia Southern, and ended up losing that game, very much to my happiness, holding a Georgia Southern ticket. But so they're playing Georgia State short week. Can they bounce back from that? Interesting game in the Sun Belt, but no financial investments for me on that slate. Just a couple okay games.
Sam, Jeff, anything else you're looking at either
Tonight?
from this game? Yeah, this game or the college football games tonight.
Not this game in particular, but a player on this team. I don't mind Surtain to win Defensive Player of the Year if he can get back on the field, and he does not continue to be injured. I know he's a little banged up, especially because there isn't a clear front runner. There's guys that are playing good, but there's a lot of injuries. Micah's hurt. Miles Garrett's on a terrible team. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he won it.
I would wait because he's not going to play tonight. So today would not be a great day to play that. So you'd want he's not going to play tonight. Let Sunday happen. Maybe let somebody kind of take reins in there. Yeah, let someone have a good game.
See if Jared Verse gets a couple or not. I was thinking rookie of the year, but yeah, let somebody get some sacks. Let somebody rack something up. Somebody to emerge to maybe replace Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, top of that
on
board.
that front.
Yeah, so let someone else get there, and then with Surtain missing a game, maybe do that. Now, you're kind of in a spot here where it really hurts to miss a ton of games and win that award. But if you're going to do that, I do not place that wager before tonight's game.
Okay, you got it. I don't know. That's especially with Hutchinson hurt, which weirdly enough, Hutchinson wasn't even the first defensive player taken in his draft. So Jacksonville, terrible choice at Trayvon Walker. But either way, that's off subject. Yeah, I just think with the injuries, there's not a really clear defensive player of the year except Hutchinson. I think Surtain's not a bad play. Now, Bob says wait, so wait a little bit.
Yeah, it could be and I think I don't know that he disagrees with the play, right, Bob? It's just more so the timing. It's just saying, hey, look, if you like it, you're going to get a better opportunity here, maybe as soon as 1 week from now.
Yeah, I don't put too much time into award betting myself, so I don't know who's going to win. I haven't looked at that market in some time, but just wanted to give just a thought in terms of the timing on that.
Yep.
Yeah, because I guess even if their pass defense just got torched tonight without him, it wouldn't necessarily raise his stock as far as in the odds market. But something to definitely keep an eye on. Okay, so we will move into some of the bigger matchups for this week. Before I guess we get too deep into that, we did have a question here from the audience. Daniel Ortega Manriquez asks, AJ Brown or Bijan rest of season? Sam, I know you are a big-time proponent for Bijan Robinson. Should we defer to you on this one, or maybe let Jeff take the
I'll just say one thing, and then you can have Jeff give his take. I was gaslit into picking Bijan Robinson in 5 different leagues. So I don't know. This year I had 3 first overall picks, and I had a 2nd overall, and I had a 3rd overall. And 4 of those I took Bijan Robinson, and he's MIA. He's nowhere to be found.
Are you more or less, or do you regret not taking Christian McCaffrey? I guess would be the first
Christian McCaffrey. If I would have taken Christian McCaffrey, it's okay, no, he got injured. That's fine. That's why I'm losing. Because now I just look like an idiot. With Christian McCaffrey, you don't look like an idiot. You just look like, dude, you lucked or bad luck. If you pick Bijan first overall in 3 leagues, you look like an idiot. So,
Sam, let's hold our temperament a little bit. Listen, last game we got 2 touchdowns. Last game we got 95 rushing yards. The backup came in and rushed for 100 yards. The Atlanta run game, granted, was against the Panthers, but Bijan, we're going to get him for the long haul. This guy's good. And like you say, you could dodge a lot of landmines in the first. Look at the first-round people. Would you like Tyreek Hill? Would you like you're saying, Mr. Christian McCaffrey? Would you like there's a few
I'm not
guys.
saying. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
So I mean,
I can't really.
we invested in him. I know I think you got gaslit by Tip Major, didn't you? I know what you did.
I did. That would be the gaslighter.
But I'll say,
I
I
love
mean,
it.
I still don't think it is a horrible pick. I mean, because look, he's not putting up zeros and he's not losing. Now, he may not be carrying the team to the level that you would like for a first round pick to do, but he's also not like crazy underwhelming to where it's like, oh, now he's in a timeshare and now he's like the 1B to, Algier being the 1A, or, it's not like a dire situation. It's just kind of been maybe some game script situations haven't lent themselves to him putting up a monster day. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I still just feel like with that offense, I don't know that he's going to be the heavy bell cow workhorse at any point. I mean, there's just too many mouths to feed. Drake London's been having a fantastic season to this point. And we're even seeing like Kyle Pitts like occasionally make some catches. So
He's actually, playing football. Yeah.
right. So I don't know. I don't think that I feel like you're a little dramatic on the Bijan front, I guess.
Zach, if you were under 500 in 4 fantasy leagues, you would be too. Like, guys, I think my combined record, like in the Wolf Sports, I think I've won 1 game. The rest of them are from like, I maybe won like 2. The rest of them are for just scoring points, but not actually winning.
So it sounds like you are just needing a scapegoat for your season struggles, and it's kind of getting lumped onto Bijan here.
Bijan and Sam Laporta, yes.
Okay, well, that makes a little more sense. Speaking of Sam Laporta, maybe we will transition here into the NFC North. Big matchup. Your Bears are on a bye week this week. Can't lose this week for them. But Detroit plays at Minnesota. The Vikings sitting right now about 1.5 point favorite, total at 50.5. Obviously a big game that's going to kind of help dictate who wins the NFC North. One question that I feel like is interesting here is that I think Bob even may have thrown out for us is there a possibility, is there a world where all 4 of these NFC North teams can maybe make the playoffs?
Is that possible?
3 wild cards. So, yeah, and the division winners. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I guess technically. I'm just saying, like, even if everyone's split, I don't know. Like, everyone would have 3 divisional losses. So, I don't know.
The South's not getting one, or very unlikely to get one, I would think. You're not going to get 2 teams to not, you're going to need whoever comes in 4th in the North to get, at least to 9 wins, and then have some tiebreakers over, the second place South team, the second place East team, and the second place West team, which right now, so the Tampa Bays, Seattle, and, Philadelphia, Washingtons of the world. So it depends on those cross matchups. I know the Bears particularly are backloaded with all their division games. They don't play a single one, I believe, prior to week 11. Yeah, it's prior to week 11. So their schedule's pretty backloaded with divisional games. So that'll obviously matter, but then we'll know by that point whether they have tiebreakers over everyone else, kind of, any head-to-heads. I know they play Washington in 2 weeks, as that game got flexed into a 4:00 game. But that'll be pretty interesting to see, kind of as that goes.
I will ask Bob. So, out of all the NFC teams and all their quarterbacks, who would you take in to start your franchise? Is it Caleb Williams?
NFC teams. Sorry, I have to think.
I guess it's like Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy,
if I'm
Tyler
factoring in
Murray.
age and contracts, it's going to be between Caleb and Jalen Daniels.
I'm glad. Okay, I'll take the answer.
I mean,
okay.
right? Like, yeah, if I'm factoring age and contracts in, because a lot of the other NFC quarterbacks, I'm thinking in my head, either already just got paid. I'm not interested in paying Jalen Hurts. That definitely not interested in paying Dak. Jordan Love. I might take Jordan Love. I really like him. So I forgot about him.
Oh my god.
So
Okay,
I
never
mean,
mind.
yeah,
I don't like the answer, Bob.
yeah.
Bob, I do not like the answer.
Caleb is certainly a candidate. But you also got to keep in mind, I don't think he was not worthy of the number 1 overall pick, right? But I was a little bit lower on Caleb coming out of college, partially because I was concerned about him playing within structure of the offense, which we didn't see at USC. So that's what I want to see from him. And then I don't think he has the head coach, offensive coordinator combination to help him kind of break those habits right now. So I would like that to change for the Bears' future. But he certainly has a high ceiling, even though Daniels is performing better today, than Caleb. But Caleb probably still has the higher ceiling if we can get him the right head coach quarterback combination.
I'll take the answer.
Jeff, the question here was if you were to start a franchise in the NFC today and have your pick of any NFC quarterback, would it be Caleb Williams or would you look elsewhere?
I liked Caleb Williams. I mean, he came out slow, and we kind of expected that. But the progression each week has been impressive to me. And I'd say based on the body of work, I'd go with Caleb. I would go with Caleb, not just because this young man at Wolf Sports is over here shaking his head, yes, but just because I do believe that's the right side, in my opinion.
I would say, for anybody that wants to be overly critical here of Caleb Williams or even Drake May, not a lot to criticize so far on Jaden Daniels, but it'll come. He'll hit some struggles, and then people will start to question, oh, did we jump the gun? Did we anoint him too quickly? Is he really all that good that we thought he was? That conversation will come at some point. But really, somebody please go back and find me a rookie quarterback that just came in and from day one just lit it up. They were amazing. Never showed any sign of struggling. Never showed any signs of like a learning curve. And they just strolled right in day one and just were amazing and have been good.
Justin Herbert.
Time. Like somebody find that for me. Because
Herbert.
I would say Justin Herbert has had multiple coaches fired already, so I don't know that I could give that to him based on that.
But he lit it up. I mean, his coaches were terrible. I'm not very impressed with his numbers this year, but I would take Justin Herbert.
And I'm not anti-Justin Herbert, but even to that, he was maybe a guy that wasn't even. I mean, how far down the draft board did he slip even in his own draft? It's not like he was like a consensus top pick.
I think he went 5.
He went 5. Yeah, but I mean, some of that was because of Mr. Mario.
Cristobal.
Cristobal not using him and kind of running that weird offense and not unleashing him a little bit, to where he kind of had to do I look better in shorts and I have the tools, but still crazy, how he was used in college. But yeah, still in the top 5, but he was the 3rd quarterback drafted. Tua and I forget who else went ahead of him. Was it Trevor Lawrence?
Joe Burrow went
was
first.
Was it Burrow's draft?
Justin Herbert went 5, and then Tua went 6.
Okay, so I had that wrong.
But actually, it could be the other way around. It could be Herbert went 6, but either way, he was. I don't know. I mean, I actually think all the rookie quarterbacks have been impressive this year. Like compared to what was it, 2 years ago?
2 years ago,
or last year? Okay. Like I mean, the one with Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Trey Lance. I mean, that one was terrible. I mean, maybe you have one starter, and that's Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the Fields should not be starting, and the rest of them are already on benches. This year, I mean, Jaden Daniels has been pretty good. Caleb Williams has been pretty good. Drake May, I didn't watch much of his game, but I heard he played good.
Yeah, I thought he played well. He's clearly the higher ceiling option for New England, and there's no skill
No.
position talent there. So,
Yeah.
I'm concerned about him getting broken behind that awful offensive line. But I thought for what he did and what he has to work with, I liked his first game effort against the Texans.
So I'll ask, Jeff, you're repping the Tar Heels. What were your, I guess, expectations on Drake May, just kind of, in the short term, or what would be, I guess, your forecast on Drake May moving forward?
Yeah, I didn't think that he was going to get put in a good spot, especially with Stevenson out and their options on offense. I mean, Pop Douglas. We saw Polk. I was pretty high on him this last week. I missed a couple bets. I actually played the boy. That was a mistake. I think that, and the tight end, with those limited options, he actually played pretty good, in my opinion. The guy looked like he knew what he was doing. He didn't look lost for his first start. He excelled at Carolina. He was a pro-ready quarterback, but coming in, I thought he would be better fit to sit the whole year. I didn't want him to get thrown out into the fire, but he produced a lot better than I anticipated with the weapons they have. So shout out to him, and it could probably only go up from here based on more game, more practice and more time with the first team. So I think he's there to stay. I think he definitely. I think he should be in the lineup the rest of the year, and I like what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you might as well see what he can do. Like, I don't know. I don't, like, especially in that position, like, I'm all for keeping a quarterback on the bench. Like, if you had, I'm just trying to think, like, if you had a good rookie and then a decent starter, keep him behind him. But New England's terrible. Like, there's no point of keeping him behind Jacoby Brissett, who's not even, like, teaching him anything. I mean, the guy's terrible. You might as well throw him in the deep end and see what he can do. Like, if he's as good as they say, like, and he's a third overall pick, like, I don't know, like, I would go, or fourth overall pick, like, I'd go with him. I don't know. That'd be me.
Yeah, and, sometimes I think that comes down to because as we know, as we've said, a lot of times if you're a high pick quarterback, more times than not, you're going onto a team that is not.
That's terrible.
Yeah, they're not a well-oiled machine by any means. Probably have some line issues to some extent. And that's where sometimes I can understand if you just know, hey, we're going to sit somebody back there who's just going to take a beating. That's not really how you learn the game. It's just by running for your life. Now,
right.
I think there is something to be said for, like, hey, well, you understand that you are going to get heated up a little bit, and there is going to be more pressure than what you're used to seeing, and you're going to be feeling pressure that you're not used to feeling, coming from all sorts of directions that you didn't identify before the snap. That's obviously the part of the adjustment into the NFL game, but I don't know. I think not all situations are created equally, right? I think we can all agree with that's where it's. Sometimes guys sit out a year or red shirt, if you want to call it that, and it's helpful. Other times they're better served to just get out there and, like, figure it out. I know there's a lot of debate right now locally with, the Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco deal, where it's like, obviously, I mean, I don't know that you can watch right now and say that the offense isn't better when Joe Flacco's under center right now. I mean, he's running a better offense than Anthony Richardson.
As a Colts fan, do you want Anthony Richardson starting them? Like, you're not winning a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. You're just not. Like,
no, but I think you can also look at the Colts right now and, like, they're just not a Super Bowl team anyway. Yeah. So it kind of boils down to, hey, do you value maybe being like a bubble playoff team? Or would you rather keep things going with Anthony Richardson? I mean, I still don't know if he's even has 20 career starts yet, counting college and NFL. I don't think he has started 20 total games of football as a starting quarterback, which is crazy, between the injuries and just kind of not having, a ton of experience. But I don't know. You don't want it's hard this early in the season because you don't want the team to kind of check out if they start stringing together some losses, and then that's like.
You don't think they could maybe, I don't know. I agree with you.
It's just hard. I don't know. I mean, the problem is that with Richardson is he's gotten hurt so many times and so frequently that it's hard to really have a strong opinion, I guess, of what we've seen so far. But what we have seen is a lack of accuracy, which is something that he dealt with. I mean, the guy is just maybe the most athletic player in the entire NFL, but you have to be accurate. When you're a quarterback, you have to be able to put the ball into tight windows, and there's no way to kind of avoid. If you're not an accurate passer, you're not going to succeed. I guess that's kind of what it ultimately boils down to. So, I guess speaking of two accurate passers, we do have Kansas City, San Francisco, and another probably the matchup of the week this week. We have. I know there was some talk that we had in the Wolf Spaces, some debate about MVP considerations for both of these quarterbacks. Both were, I felt like, unfairly slandered. The disrespect that was getting thrown onto Patrick Mahomes. And then, Brock Purdy just continues to be.
Back up here.
Go ahead, yeah.
I'm going to defend him here because both of you were in the space yesterday, right? Yeah, both of you were. So I don't think it's disrespect to say Patrick Mahomes has not been playing like the best quarterback in the league because he's not. Like this season, he's not even top 10. Like if you just go by stats, he's not. And Sam Darnold is playing better than him. Like Sam Darnold is. They both have the same amount of wins. You can't use the quarterback win argument, and he has better stats. So, I don't think it's exactly disrespect. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes was on a worse team. If his defense and coach wasn't the best in the league, he wouldn't be winning games.
Jeff, what do you think?
He's undefeated. It's hard to take from the champ. If you look at the sportsbook odds, they got him as the favorite. Until he loses, then they might drop it to Lamar, or they might, so just bet on the betting odds. I think that he definitely is not producing like he has. Look at who he's lost. He's lost a lot this year. I mean, just in the season, Rice was nice coming in, not so nice now. We saw whose early target was in many games this year. He's just – and Kelsey, to me, they play Kelsey like you see it every year. They kind of preserve him for the playoffs. So they're not going to go out there and give him 12 targets like they could. If there's a playoff game, you need to win. Plus, he's getting old. So their options with Pacheco down, you can't rely on that on Patty to be the man. Their defense, Pacheco was a big part of their game plan. So I think when they get fully healthy and watch, maybe they'll be picking somebody up in a trade. Everybody else wants to trade. I think Patty will pivot back to not the quarterback we saw where he was a top 5, but definitely won't be down there to 20th best quarterback statistically. I don't think that's
Jeff,
where
can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
So you say that Patrick Mahomes has lost all these guys, which is fine, agreed. But so has Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has his whole team hurt. I mean, some guys are slowly coming back. Ayuk didn't play the entire preseason or entire training camp. Christian McCaffrey's down. If the same thing happened, I think Brock Purdy is so hated on, even though he's having a better season than Patrick Mahomes. Regardless of that, do you think the same thing could be said about Brock Purdy? All of his guys are down.
Purdy had some pretty no, it's a terrible pun right there. Some pretty good people step in. I mean, we remember Jennings week. This guy was he's really good. Obviously, we know Kittle, the best tight end right now statistically in the league. Ayuk didn't come in till late, and Debo was beat up. They've been cycling him back through. I understand what you're saying, but he's not getting like Mr. Mahomes is. And at the bottom end of the spectrum, what are we looking for? W's, and that's what gets you to the Super Bowl is winning it. So we were overtime away last year for Mr. Purdy. Mr. Relevant is good, but I think that we look at Mahomes and he'll snap back. I think he will, in my opinion.
Yeah. Bob, I see. I heard you say thank you up there when you said he's the favorite. I'm not disputing that Patrick Mahomes shouldn't be the favorite, but he is not playing as a top. If you just go off pure skill and pure production, he's not top 10 this season. He's not. He's just not. Like, tell me how.
Skill wise, he's not only top 10, he's 1-1 as far as pure skill. From a statistical standpoint, okay, sure, fine. His stats aren't perfect, whatever. But he is the deserved MVP favorite. I was surprised in the Wolf Spaces this week, the general consensus around Lamar Jackson. I think people forget a lot of times these type of awards are voted on by humans, and Lamar's 1-2. So can he really put up the numbers? And people are irrational. Dock his lack of playoff success. Having the number 1 seed. Like, is Baltimore going to win as many games and be, quite frankly, like from a power rating perspective, they were awesome last year at the end of the year, despite not Super Bowl. So is Baltimore going to have more wins than they had last year? No, they aren't. Is Lamar going to have better stats? Probably not. I mean, Derrick Henry is going to steal a lot of rushing yards, rushing touchdowns from that team. So that's another piece of the pie. I mean, that's, he had Gus Edwards and, Mitchell, the good running back from ECU. He got hurt. J.K. Dobbins got hurt last year. So a lot of things were set up for Lamar last year to put up big statistical numbers. So I was really surprised by that consensus on the Wolf Spaces. I don't think Lamar is, in that spot at all. I also think Jalen Daniels isn't a great option, just because typically to win MVP in the NFL, you need a top 2 seed. So I don't think Washington is going to be able to get enough wins to get a top 2 seed. Purdy's case is they're 3-3 right now. In a weaker NFC now, they've lost, and they're actually 0-3 in the conference right now, I believe. Oh no, they got the win against Seattle, so now they're 1-3 against conference foes. But so they're going to have some room to make up as far as tiebreakers, and likely end up, as that 4 seed, despite probably being the number 1 or number 2 power rated team in that conference. I mean, when you look at the adversity Mahomes has faced, losing his two of his 3 best weapons by far, Isaiah Pacheco in the ground game, Rashee Rice at receiver. I mean, the skill position talent they currently have is very poor. So to get Kansas City to a 5-0 record, even if he's not putting up the wins and the defense is good and Andy Reid's awesome, I think Mahomes is a deserved favorite, and I think he's probably very likely to win along with Josh Allen and everyone else.
That would be mine.
But and that's. And he's probably he's a way better candidate to me near the top of the odds board.
Absolutely.
But I definitely think people are, just kind of looking at raw stats, and, you got to consider the situation, with that is losing all those top weapons. And as you said, Kelsey's lost a step, or they're not using them, or both, so far this season. So to be undefeated, playing a couple tough games, come back to win in a lot of these games that are very tight. I think everyone in the Wolf Space is really discounting Mahomes, and we have to remember the supreme talent that he is at this position. And without a doubt, I don't care what stats say, he is the number 1 quarterback in the league, bar none.
And that's kind of how I feel. It's like, it's not like we've seen him all of a sudden turn into a turnover machine, or like he's just, wildly inaccurate now, or he's missing guys. Like, we haven't seen a drop off by any means. We just haven't seen the gaudy, crazy stats that we kind of got accustomed to.
But that's what an MVP is. Like, a regular season MVP is regular season MVP. You can't be talking about last year's playoffs. Like, that's why I think Mahomes is the favorite. And I think he's.
Yeah.
I didn't mention last year's playoffs.
Rejected.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I know. I agree with you with the Lamar Jackson, though. I don't think he's going to win MVP unless he's top 5 in rushing and he has a few electric games. Like, I think he could, but he's going to have to get the 1 seed. He's going to have a few big games. He's going to have to do something that he's not currently doing in the last year and a half. I would personally bet on Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league right now, playing like the best quarterback in the league.
That's fair.
I mean, I'll say I don't
like Jaden Daniels.
And I think very highly of Lamar Jackson as a quarterback, as an MVP candidate, everything. I really, really like Lamar Jackson. Love to watch him play. Very impressive. However, a case could be made that Lamar Jackson might not even be the MVP on his own team right now with what we're seeing from Derrick Henry. So, Jeff, any thoughts on Patrick Mahomes, or just I guess the MVP race as a whole here, as we are this early in the season?
No, with the recent addition for Buffalo, that trade bringing in Cooper, I think that really pivots him up. You know, he was third before that, and in fact, he's thrown 0 interceptions this year, 12 touchdowns. That used to be his kryptonite, was throwing picks all over the place, and they'd say, "Oh, we're breaking down another drive stop," but he's not doing that this year. It's a new Josh Allen, so getting that alpha receiver to go along with what he had, I think will help out his slot guy and Kincaid as well. I think it'll keep the defenses to where they're not going to stop the run and his run. So I like Josh Allen as a chance to win the MVP. Everybody was talking about Lamar in the space the other night, and I'm not a believer as well. Especially you're not getting any value. He's second choice in the betting, so why would you take the second guy? There's no value in that. But yeah, I think that this game's be interesting. I think Pat Mahomes is 11-1-1 as an underdog in his career. And he's a 1.5 point underdog. So take that as you want, but pretty good stats. And if you remember Andy Reid off a bye, probably better than that. He's pretty damn good. So yeah, something to think about there.
I will say, go ahead. Despite those stats, I actually I'm taking San Francisco. I think they win this game. I think they need this game is a lot more important to them. I think they've had a couple of just weird games that they've lost. You know, they blew a double-digit lead to the Rams late without a kicker when they had some weird stuff going on. They blew a late lead to Arizona, but those are both divisional games. Weird stuff happens in divisional games with the high familiarity of your opponents. You know, I don't hold those outcomes against them. I feel like San Francisco has more overall talent than what we've seen from Kansas City so far, and with all the Kansas City injuries. But I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's where 15 comes into play, because he's the ultimate neutralizer, where any advantage you think you might have, he erases that. So that's where, to your point, Sam, Jeff, you said it. It's incredibly hard to take against him, and especially as an underdog, which is something we very rarely see.
You know, I do love the Amari Cooper trade. I loved him on the Browns this year. I love Deshaun Watson in the Browns this year. Now, of course, Deshaun Watson forgot how to play football. So, you know, I mean, there's nothing he could do. But I do love that trade. I think you got great value for Amari Cooper. So I think if I were to bet now, I'd bet on Josh Allen. But no, I love it. I love it. Now, I will say, it is really unfortunate for Christian McCaffrey that he got hurt, because I think this would be the perfect year you'd win MVP. There's no quarterbacks that are like overly dominant. Like if he had the year he had last year or this year, I think he would win MVP. Like this is the perfect year for a running back to win MVP. Now there is just no running back that's going to win MVP because there's no one playing good enough. But yeah, no.
Yeah, and that's where I say Derrick Henry. I mean, look at what he's doing and what he's producing, and it's like he's not even really in the conversation.
But he's like he's good. But like, how much is he getting benefited from Lamar Jackson? Like Derrick Henry was borderline not a superstar anymore last year or 2 years ago, and then when he gets on the team with Lamar Jackson, then it's like 800 yards. Like, I don't know.
Bob, what do you think?
I missed some of that. I lost connection for a second. What was that?
We were just talking about Derrick Henry. Like, should he be in the MVP conversation?
Nah. It's a quarterback award. You're seeing offensive.
It is a quarterback award.
You're seeing offensive player of the year kind of shift to that reward a skill position player, and Henry is the favorite in that market. I think that's a fair award and fair kind of spot for him. You have to put up historic level numbers, I think, at a running back or a wide receiver, break a record type season on a 1 or 2 seed to win MVP from a skill position, I think.
Do you think Christian McCaffrey could have this year? Like this is, I feel like the perfect storm if he didn't get hurt.
Assuming he was putting up historic numbers, and then would the Niners be 5-1 right now instead of 4? Hold it with 3 losses.
3-3, yeah.
So that would be the crux there.
Right, but it's also like, I mean, look at Derrick Henry, and would McCaffrey, like, how much better could his numbers be than what Derrick Henry's done?
And his price would be a lot less than what Derrick Henry's is doing.
Yeah, I guess the only difference is that, people perceive Lamar as a MVP candidate and not Brock Purdy. And I don't know what Brock Purdy would have to do to even, like...
I think he's so hated on because he was the last pick. Like, if he was picked number 1 overall or number 2 overall right behind Trevor Lawrence, the world would be talking about it. Like, he'd already have a contract, like, all this stuff, but I don't know. I think he's really hated on.
It's Shanahan, or it seems like it's Shanahan's, like, kind of success with random quarterbacks, in air quotes, kind of making them look good, look average, throughout his entire coaching, tenure as an offensive coordinator and as a head coach. So I think that's actually hurting Purdy in terms of MVP chances because Kyle Shanahan gets the credit, not Brock Purdy.
What about Bob? What about Trey Lance though? Like, I get it, Trey Lance didn't get a fair shot. He really didn't, but he was the number 3 pick. Like, he was picked very high and he didn't play good.
Another guy like Anthony Richardson mentioned earlier didn't get a ton of starts in college, and sometimes just like recruiting stars in college and NFL drafts, sometimes you bust, you guess wrong. That's it. Clearly, they got the 7th round pick more right than the 1st round pick at quarterback in San Francisco.
Well, and it's like we say, oftentimes it's whoever wins the underwear Olympics at the combine that people start to feel like these guys are just like they're like a meteor, and they, who was the wide receiver? Was it Brashard Perriman, or there was somebody that had like this, crazy 40 time from UCF? Yeah, and more times than not, whoever runs the fastest 40, they get all this attention, and they say, "Oh my God, this guy's could be a difference maker," and they shoot up the draft board, and it's somebody that maybe wasn't even talked about during the college football season. But because they ran fast in a straight line, everybody loves them all of a sudden, and then they get drafted high, and then it never really happens for them. So I don't know. I guess that's my thoughts on that as far as like the Trey Lance deal, the Anthony Richardson deal. Any other just kind of like, I guess, main games that you guys have your eye on, or any other key matchups Jeff, maybe that you're looking at this week in the NFL?
Yeah, I think the first one in London's really going to give us, if you look what it is, a terrible game. New England is going in there to face Jacksonville, right?
Some are saying this is the worst thing we've done to London since the Revolutionary War, is send them the Patriots and Jacksonville matchup. So,
do you think the Patriots have a shot, Jeff?
What's that?
Do you think the Patriots have a shot?
I think they do not, and here's why. I think that if we look at last week, Jacksonville got out there late, and because of the hurricane, and they were sleepwalking in the first half. There's a big time difference. There's a big body used to it. Jacksonville came in, and they looked terrible, okay? But if you realize that now they stayed the whole week, they're there, they're ready, and New England came in, and now New England's a bad team. They have to get used to that time change. I think Jacksonville, the last thing we remember is them looking terrible. I think them as a home team, true home team now, will be able to beat New England. And I think it's a small spread. I think from that aspect, especially maybe a first half play. What do you think of a first half play, Bob, versus the whole game from that aspect?
So see some concerning things with Jacksonville, obviously, with how they've played this year. A safety, Andre Sisco, from the team, literally used the keyword quit, in that game, after that game in Chicago. He said he saw a lot of quit in the defense, which major red flag. I mean, you're talking, is Doug Peterson going to get left in London, after this game? Arguably, regardless of the result, you have seen Jacksonville get bet out from 3.5 out to 5.5 in this game. I do think that travel advantage, playing back-to-back games in London, Even at different stadiums, however, it's not the same stadium. It's not the same surface. So that's something to note there with that for Jacksonville. But I do think that's worthy of giving them, a point, in home field advantage a little bit with the travel. They have shown with London travel, generally speaking, it's either good to go really early, like the Bears did, or really late. Kind of like Jacksonville, that their timing did get pushed back a little bit by the hurricane. But I don't know if I thought that was okay. That wasn't too big of a red flag to me. My big thing with this game here with Jacksonville is I'm not interested in laying a number with them. I put a small pizza bet on New England on the money line. Just playing into that variance a little bit. If a player is in the media openly using the Q word, that this team might quit, and there could be a mutiny in the locker room. You're just seeing terrible bad things coming out of that team as far as efforts as well. I'll take the upside with Drake May, being the new starter, and kind of looking at it that way. But I certainly see the travel advantages, and from a numbers perspective, Jacksonville's a better team without a doubt. But I'm just going to play into that variance and kind of lean into that New England money line a little bit.
Okay, yeah, you said a pizza bet. We could also, I guess, this week maybe call it a fish and chips bet. But
yes,
on that note, I know Sam, you have to run. Appreciate your time stopping in here with us. Make sure that you guys are jumping in with us tomorrow night, 8 p.m. We have the Wolf Spaces that Sam hosts for us. So make sure that you give us a look there. Check them out, follow them along on Twitter if you are not already. This is where you can get in here, get a part of these spaces that all of us contribute to. So Sam, we will send you off.
Perfect.
Hey, good news.
Well,
like I said, the Bears can't lose this week. So good news.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Sam.
Great day, Sam.
All right, so we are still down. We will keep things rolling here along. Certainly not to kill our momentum by any stretch, but any other, I will ask Jeff. I have a little bit of a dilemma here for, not to get into personal fantasy football problems here, but I cannot figure out what the Steelers are doing with deciding to potentially install Russell Wilson. I mean, are they just, is this a smoke screen? Is it are they trying to throw us off the scent? Are they really going to actually do this and, make this puzzling decision? I ask this as somebody who, in the Wolf Sports League, I have Justin Fields right now as my starting quarterback. Caleb Williams on a bye week on the bench. So I'm in quite a pickle as to what to do. I don't know. Are the Steelers? What do you think with the Steelers? Are they really going to make this change?
I think Tomlin really loves Wilson. I think he has a man crush on him. He's been talking the whole time. And if you talk about, Russell being hurt and working up to this point, I don't think it's a transition that needs to be made, but I'm not Coach Tomlin. This guy doesn't ever have a losing season. And the fact that they're not losing now, why make the switch? It's got me a little weary. But I think you definitely would want to have Russ on your bench unless somebody has him, and then you could pivot back and forth. Does somebody own him in that league? Does somebody beat you to the punch?
No, I don't know that anybody wants to have Russell Wilson on their team at this juncture, and of what we've seen from him lately. I will say the alternative options are not great for me.
What do you got?
Russell, here's the thing. Fields is saying the right things. He's coming out and he's saying, hey, look, I had my chance, and if I had played better, this wouldn't even be a conversation. And maybe if I had had a better performance, I could have made this decision. Which, look, those are the right things to say. I don't know if they are necessarily fully true. The way that I kind of see it is he had 5 passing, 5 rushing touchdowns, 1 interception. He's probably could have thrown another 2 or 3 picks that got dropped. Just last week alone had a few that he lucked out on that should have been picked off. But, they're winning games, and I don't know. I wouldn't mess with that momentum. They need that extra element of him running. His legs kind of give them kind of I mean, I know he's been putting up off the top of my head, I mean, he's been averaging, somewhere 40, 50 rushing yards a game. And that's an important part of kind of what they're doing in that, like, smash mouth Steelers style, I guess. Now, he's not the most accurate downfield, but from what we've seen from Russell Wilson from his Broncos time, this is not the Russell hustle and bustle that we saw carving teams up in Seattle. This is a very different Russell Wilson that is. I just haven't seen enough from him to just think, man, you absolutely got to install him as soon as possible. Bob, what do you think?
Russell Wilson's bad right now. I think it's laughable. Kind of transitioning in and out. While I'm not a huge Justin Fields guy, he adds a dynamic in the running game that I think helps the Steelers offense to some effect a little bit. It's not an offense I'm particularly high on. It's not an offensive coordinator I'm particularly high on. I think you're kind of creating an issue for no reason, even though I know Russell obviously has a big personality. And, they brought both in, to compete for the job. And I know Russell, had that calf injury. You don't want to lose the job because of injury, but I thought Fields performed admirably. He has had some turnover worthy plays, which is probably why I think Tomlin is maybe making that transition, kind of knowing that he needs to, they need to rely on their defense to win games, 20-17 throughout the whole year. So maybe he's thinking Russell can do that, or just kind of giving him that shot. Maybe that was a promise made, in the offseason and whatnot. But it's not a switch I would be making, simply because I like the dynamic in the run game with Fields. And then, even if you're not high on Fields, I still think he has a higher upside than present day Russell Wilson at his age.
Yeah, I mean, Fields was a much higher draft prospect than Wilson was. Wilson was third round pick out of Wisconsin. Fields was top. I mean,
15?
Yeah,
15?
Yeah. He was a lottery pick. To kind of use the basketball terms there, but Fields, I think, was viewed as a much higher upside coming in as a prospect, and not saying that Fields has had a better career than Russell Wilson, but Wilson is certainly more so on the downswing than
you're trying to win.
He's not getting any better. Right. And like I said, I don't know. The Steelers haven't outright said, I don't think, that he's absolutely starting. I know that Tomlin has kind of said he's in the mix to start, or he's in consideration, and he's been taking first team snaps. And I don't know if some of it maybe is just a way to give a kick in the rear end here for Fields, and maybe kind of like give him a little extra motivation, a little chip on his shoulder. Tomlin's obviously known as like a master motivator and a guy that likes to kind of try to install chips on his guys' shoulders when he can. But I don't know. This is just very weird to me. It would seem weird to go through this charade and then tell Russ, who's been injured, suiting up in full pads on the sideline anyway as an inactive player, to kind of yank him around. I don't know. It's a puzzling situation. Real quick, I guess, since we were saying, I mean, I'm not considering Bo Nix. The other options, I guess, are Aaron Rodgers, Drake May, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, Andy Dalton, Huntley, O'Connell, and Matt Stafford. I'm not going to go any lower than that. We have Watson, Levis, and Rattler.
Say the first three
I'm
again.
not considering any of those guys. So Rodgers, May, and Daniel Dimes Jones.
Rodgers with his new weapon. I mean, he brought his new guy in town. And then Danny Dimes has been a top quarterback. If you look at what he's putting up per week, I think 4 of the 6 weeks he's been a top 10 quarterback. So more consistent, believe it or not, this year with Danny Dimes, but Aaron Rodgers with his new man crush in town. I think I just read they signed Eddie Lacy and Jordy Nelson about 5 minutes ago. So no, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. But
Randall Cobb was seen in New York
it's
recently too.
Yeah, Randall
might be a good
Cobb.
spot.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead, Bob.
Giants get Neighbors back this week.
Presumably,
I mean,
I don't
if that's
know.
the case-
He seems to be the guy. He's been in the longest concussion protocol of anyone in recent memory. So I don't know how much of that had to do with him being seen at a concert, and they're like, "Well, now we can't bring him back this week because he's out partying at a concert. We got to hold him out an extra week." I feel like that maybe was some of it, but. Sal, who is a big Steelers fan, he seems to think some of the Tomlin quotes were maybe out of context, which, yeah, like I said, I think it's just an important thing to note that he did say Wilson is under consideration. And then he's also using him in first-team reps. So... like I said, nobody has come out. Everyone, whether you look to ESPN or any site you go to, it seems like they've already decided that it was like a definitive statement that Russ Wilson is starting. I do think, to Sal's point, maybe there's a little bit of gamesmanship, shithousery going on here by Mike Tomlin, where maybe he's just kind of keeping his cards close to the vest and not, but I don't know. But why, right? Why? What are you doing? Like, just, you got Fields coming out saying like neither of us know who's starting. I don't know. If that is true, I don't think that's helpful to your team to just go into a week and not know who is going to be leading your offense. So I don't know. I guess one other note, Bob, because I tend to like the Browns this week as a 6-point dog playing Cincinnati. Curious to hear if you guys have thoughts on either on here with the Browns Bengals. I just feel like the Bengals kind of have, or the Browns are getting some guys back on the O-line. I think Conklin's coming back. They've had some injuries there. Chubb is, I believe, expected to come back. I would expect him maybe in the 10 to 15 carries range. Obviously, yeah, they did lose Cooper, but I don't know. They weren't throwing to him a ton anyway, so I don't perceive that as, the way this offense is constructed, that's not like a devastating loss by any stretch. I don't know. I think these AFC North games tend to be tight, cagey, low-scoring battles. Bob, you go first, and then maybe Jeff can piggyback off what he says. What do you think here, Browns, Bengals?
Not a game I'm particularly going to play, but I mean, I know the Browns have a really good series history against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. We've seen that over the, I don't believe in, too many trends, but sometimes when you get, head coach quarterback combos that are consistent, then you can kind of start maybe, looking and thinking about that stuff. And we've seen that with Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow struggling against the Browns defense with Myles Garrett. It seems to, get after the quarterback, in those matchups and not have a ton of success there. So that's a point in favor of the Browns. And then, of course, the most important thing, the number. This has been bet out from 3.5 to 5.5. There's even a couple sixes showing. You're not moving those moving that off of any wide receiver, let alone Amari Cooper. To get to this number, you would need to have the Browns like basically on par with the Panthers, or lower, quite frankly. So from a number perspective, like, is this the bottom on Cleveland? I think that would be the only way to play the game, but you have to decide if we are truly like, this is as low as Cleveland's going to get, or, is this a situation where there's a locker room mutiny? Deshaun Watson is playing at historically bad levels over the last 15, 20 years of quarterback play. And we can't really quantify that properly. Those are the things you have to weigh on that. Not a game I'm looking at touching, considering the market movement and just not wanting to step in front of trying to figure out Cleveland's true floor right now.
The Bengals, they killed a lot of people's survivors early in the year. 2 different weeks came out as 8-point favorites in week 1 and week 3. Road. I dislike Cleveland, but I think since they missed a lot of games, they won coin flip games. They could very easily be 5-1 now, but they're not. And the point is, that's a lot of points on the road. So I'm probably going to stay play that. I can't play that word.
You're braver than me, Zach. If you're taking the points of Cleveland.
I don't know how much of this is because I wanted to take the Browns last week and I kind of got scared off, and turned out it would have been the right decision backing them as an 8.5-point dog against Philly. Some of that I think is coming back here in this. Just I don't know. I trust in Kevin Stefanski as still a good coach despite having a horrible quarterback right now, but I just feel like they're going to be trying to run the ball. I feel like they can maybe try and get some short passes going now. And with the O-line healing up, with Chubb coming back, I just think it kind of, they're probably going to be coming out running some heavy sets. That opening, Stefanski's a big opening drive script guy. I think if they can maybe go down on that opening drive, punch in a touchdown, get some points on the board early, and then just kind of settle in. This is a defense that has given Joe Burrow fits over his career. I think Joe Burrow's like 1-5 playing against the Browns. I might be wrong, but I think that's the.
It's close to that.
He has struggled, and he's thrown more picks than touchdowns against the Browns, and this defense isn't the Browns' problem right now. So I could see Myles Garrett causing some problems. I could see them maybe being the first sign of a team being able to slow down the Cincinnati offense that we've seen. This is probably the best defense that they've had to go up against. So I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at. I don't know that the Browns are a team that I'm looking to back long term, but I just think in this division matchup, they give them issues. That Browns could get hyped up. I could see a little more extra motivation here, especially with Cooper gone. Other guys are going to want to step up and kind of help fill that role. Jerry Jeudy is a guy that maybe to kind of keep an eye on as a guy that could start to pop off and put up some more stats than what we've seen, just because as he's kind of sliding into a bigger opportunity. So any other just kind of like main NFL thoughts or general NFL fantasy or betting thoughts that you like?
I think I faded off when you were talking about the Detroit Lions game, and something that stuck out in that game I did want to bring up is Jared Goff's average depth of target this year is tremendously better, which is helping out Jameson Williams and the running backs as well. They have to keep people committed to Monty and Gibbs. I think if you look at Laporta and Amon St. Brown, they're still good players, don't get me wrong, but the production is not going to be what we expected because of that average depth of target, the long passes to Jay Williams and the running. So keep an eye on him. If people are still sleeping on him, prop wise, he's gone over the number a lot. He's getting those deep shots, and also trading for him in fantasy football. He's a guy that can be a weekly winner, not a league winner overall, but a week. He can win you a week with like a 120-2 kind of game when people aren't expecting that. But yeah, I love that Detroit team. They're looking nasty, and Green Bay as well. I just think that division is just fierce.
Not what we expected to see out of the NFC North. I think there's a lot of look, we all knew that the Lions were good. based off of last year, but I don't know that people expect. I mean, they are better than they were last year. They've taken a step forward, and they've certainly been playing some really good ball. Really sucks for them to lose Hutch, but offensively they don't have any problems right now or any holes, and they have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line right now in the NFL. They're protecting Goff, giving him time, as you said, to get those deep balls downfield, and they have just elite offensive playmakers. Like, they have some great weapons that they can find between St. Brown and Jameson, and great backs and a really good tight end. So I don't know. There's not a lot missing from this team. You could make the
And they're confident.
argument, yeah, and they kind of they've adopted the ethos of Dan Campbell. I mean, you can kind of see they play the way to his personality. And that's really, I think, a lot of times when you can identify the mark of a good football team that's playing well is when the team plays the way that their coach coaches, if that makes sense to you guys. Like, where the team kind of like embodies the coach's personality. That is where, even looking at those Steelers teams, that when the Steelers were the best, it was like that rah Mike Tomlin, like punch you in the mouth, no nonsense. Like, that is when the Steelers were at their peak as well. So, we will see. I know that was so you said Detroit, Minnesota, Kansas, KC, San Fran. Real quick, maybe we could touch on Jeff. How close are you in with college football? I know you got the heels on. You follow some college ball much?
A little bit, not as much. I know my co-host, shout out to Mitch and John, both also on the Fantasy Football Forecast, a 3-man team. But Mitch was really high on Clemson this week, 20.5, laying 20.5 against Virginia. He brought up the fact that Wake Forest common opponent, maybe some statistics, and the fact that Clemson's really made a switch, and he really likes them. What do you guys think about the Tigers laying 20.5 this week? Especially you, Bob. You seem to be the college expert.
Yeah, my number is Clemson minus 20.81. So I'm right on market here with that. You've seen kind of Clemson try to operate a Death Star. I don't know if they are trying to win Cade Klubnik the Heisman because they're putting on a ton of points at the end of these games. They're not stopping. I mean, you saw earlier in the year where they kept going against App State in that first half. Against Wake Forest, I mean, that was a tight game early, and they still put up 42, a lot of it late there. I do have a pause in that. Virginia's head coach is Tony Elliott. He was Clemson's former offensive coordinator under Dabo Swinney. So just the interesting thing, will Dabo want to run it up on his former assistant, and friend who, arguably helped get the job in Charlottesville. So no opinion for me there. I do like Virginia's quarterback, Anthony Calandria, quite a bit. He had a huge turnover problem in previous years and has cut down on that a little bit, making that Virginia offense a little bit better and more lively. I do generally kind of like this Virginia team as dogs, and I've backed them a couple times in that Wake Forest game. And then a couple weeks ago against, I believe it was Boston College as well. I backed them. But yeah, like this Clemson team quite a bit, but no value in that number. Not a game I've played this week.
Thank you.
I will say, give Jeff and his crew, as he mentioned, Fantasy Football Forecast. Give this is a link to their podcast that they do. This is to their Spotify page. They're also on Apple Podcasts. And I believe you guys also do a every week Saturday Night Space. I've been in there a couple of times. So it's really good. It's like after the kids are in bed, it's a good time for me to kind of tap in. And as the college football slate is winding down, because you guys do normally like 9 p.m. Eastern, right?
9 Eastern to 10:30, and then at 10:30, if anybody wants to come up on stage and do a group talk about anything fantasy-wise, betting-wise, whatever, it's open forum. But yeah, the first hour and a half, you get every game broke down from three people's perspective, and it's a fun time. And we don't compare notes, so we're coming in, and if we're on the same pick, if we happen to like the same play, we play Timmy Trumpet. So just drop you a little bit of that. Drop it. We don't know how much I can play on here, but yeah, Timmy Trumpets. Me and we're all in the same play, and those hit pretty. We were 6-3 last week on our Timmy picks, so we post those out on Twitter every week as well. So look for the Timmy Trumpets of the week. So
I was
That's
gonna
awesome.
say it's as on a Saturday night as the sun is setting on the college football day. It's really good for me to I can get in and listen, and as you said, you go through each game one by one, and kind of maybe uncover some angles that I wouldn't have been thinking about. Maybe point out some good value on certain players, getting bigger opportunities. Guys stepping up because of injury, or maybe just kind of a good matchup that they have. So really good kind of look ahead on a late Saturday night heading into a Sunday morning. Great show. Be sure to check those guys out. Like I said, they're also getting in there with the spaces that we co-host. So happy to have Jeff here with us today. Later on, I will also tease and mention that Bob and I will have our college football preview, the weekend preview, just kind of breaking down the main games of the weekend. I know this week we're doing Alabama, Tennessee. We're breaking down
Georgia, Texas.
major showdown between Georgia versus Texas. Yeah, top 5 matchup. We have the showdown that everyone will be watching, Nebraska at Indiana. I know everyone has waited with bated breath as to what we will see if the Hoosiers will continue their run into the college football playoff. And then we also do Michigan and Illinois, right? So maybe also give a couple of best looks, best picks out of those games as well. So one last bit of housekeeping, I guess, or admin that I wanted to mention is for people that are using the Tenement app. We're going to throw up and we're going to make some picks here in the Tenement app. If you've been using it, or go ahead and get in there, and these are for the missions. So these missions help you earn extra points, Tenement points that you can use for the marketplace. There's different ones for following us on Twitter, different ones for tuning into Tenement TV, for following Wolf Sports. Maybe we could get a couple others there for some other friends of the program, lead them into other pages. But right now we have one that's worth 100 points to just complete this survey, community survey. Give us some feedback on things that we can do better, things that maybe you guys would like to see in the app, either visually or maybe some other games, matchups, whatever ideas you have. It's pretty open-ended, whether you've been super involved or not. If not, let us know. We can get you a different survey as well. But yeah, make sure you do this. It's an easy way to grab some points, as we are already past the midway point of this month and still have some cash up for grabs as far as the monthly leaderboard goes. So I am going to let's see. Let's actually, if you guys are ready, we can go ahead and maybe make our best picks of the weekend. So I'll throw up the app. Everybody's going to kind of go around and make your strongest pick. Couple other things just to mention as we're getting this fired up is WNBA finals. We saw that is sitting at, I believe, 2-1 now, to New York, winning on a game-winning shot by Sabrina Ionescu last night. So really good series there. As I have said before, I might have not tuned in as strongly once Caitlin Clark went down, but I'm sure a lot of other people are. So, and then in baseball, we have the ALCS, NLCS going on right now.
I actually have a rare baseball bet.
Oh, great! Let's hear it.
Yeah,
But before you go, I will say we have the Yankees are up 2-0 right now over the Cleveland Guardians, and the Dodgers took a 2-1 lead over the Mets after their game last night. So, Bob, what do you like?
I got a player prop. I just checked the lineup and checked the odds on it. Give me Guardians catcher Austin Hedges under 0.5 hits. It's a little juicy. It's minus 200. But I think that price is still good, so that'll be a bet I'll be placing here shortly. So that's my rare baseball prop bet of the day of the week of whatever.
Not many people resent Austin Hedges quite like Bobby Digital. Nobody likes to fade Austin Hedges as much as this man does. So I certainly trust your judgment there. Just to kind of, before we get into the picks, I want to run people through. Let's check in prizes. So you just get the most. This resets every month. You get the most points in a given month. You get paid out in cash and the extra points as well. Some usual suspects here. We have Blaine up here at the top, Zancho Mazorca, and Zach Herm. Not sure who that guy is, but he seems to be creeping up at third, working his way up as well. So Bob sitting down at sixth. Jeff, not sure where we can find you in here, not in the top 10 currently, but maybe can work your way up. So we will keep an eye on that moving forward. Like I said, just wanted to kind of show people where they can go get to these missions when you get to, come on. All right, well, now it's not loading for us, but we'll give it another look. Start taking a look and thinking about, guys, as to what you like as your best, maybe head-to-head matchup that you like for the NFL slate this weekend. Could be one of the games we've already talked about. Could be maybe something that we haven't talked about. Maybe you like something outside of the NFL too. So if you like that, obviously feel free to utilize that as well. But here we go. Let's get this back up here. There we go. So get into the missions. As I said, make sure you're following us every day. You can log in, get some extra points there by logging in. Follow us on IG, get in there, Tenement TV, Wolf Sports. Here is the form to fill out the survey, get those extra 100 points. So now it's just messing up on me whenever we get. Here we go. Maybe it's just messing up on the stream. Here we go. All right. So, Bob, we will start with you. What's your best pick here on the NFL board?
So obviously, if you're just going, looking for a favorite or something, you're going to look to make sure you always look at the point spreads in these games. Kind of give you a clue in case you don't, in case you don't have an opinion on a game. So the first one I'd circle is Buffalo there against the Tennessee Titans and Will Levis there. And then if I wanted to do click a little upset, I like Seattle against Atlanta this week. So that would be one I would pick if I want to go maybe against the grain and find a way to maybe make up some points against my competition.
I don't hate the Seattle pick. I kind of like them a little bit as a dog, as a team that's kind of really good bounce back spot for them. Jeff, what are your thoughts here on your best pick of the NFL weekend?
I think we talked about this game. We don't even know who the quarterback is going to be, but I like Steelers at home. I think the Steelers are. I know the Jets just signed a new receiver, but unless they signed a new kicker, that's what they need. They missed an extra point. They missed 2 field goals. Those are the crucial points that they could have got a win last week, and now they got to go into Pittsburgh on a primetime game. I don't know. Give me Pittsburgh. What do you think of Pittsburgh? Let's go with that. Pittsburgh. Lock it in.
Yeah, Greg the leg and the kicking struggles continue there. I know it was a really windy situation, which just kind of a broader point, I guess, from a fantasy perspective. I don't like looking at, generally when I'm trying to identify a kicker for my team, I don't want a team that plays in the Northeast. I don't want a team that's going to be playing in weird, super windy, rainy, messy, snowy, conditions. I'd rather just kind of avoid that now. Look, if I have somebody that maybe is playing a road game in those conditions, I can deal with it for a week. But if you're taking Zerline, you're taking Bass for the Bills, that probably half the games are going to involve some sort of like crazy weather, not super favorable kicking conditions. So I'll be honest, I kind of would zag on that. I don't like what's going on with this Pittsburgh. I'll put it this. If they're starting Russell Wilson, I will be taking the Jets. And to be honest, probably betting on the Jets as well if Russell Wilson is starting. If Fields is still staying out there, I would stay away / like lean a little bit more towards Pittsburgh. Just with the continuity, and I think maybe we'll get a little bit more motivated and focused Justin Fields with that little extra kick. But they're good at home. They're good at home. Renegade will be blasting. This could be the first ever Russell Renegade Wilson debut that we see. So maybe he comes out slinging like the old Russell Hustle and Bustle. So let's see. Where will I go with mine? The Bills maybe a little bit too easy of a pick here. I would certainly take them. I can't imagine Tennessee goes into Buffalo and beats them. That would be shocking. I tell you, I'll go here with the Rams off the bye week, maybe getting some guys back. Cooper Kupp might be back. They are going to look to probably run the ball a lot. Vegas cannot stop the run whatsoever. I think they're going to run all over them. I think Stafford is going to be a little bit more healed up. We'll see him looking sharp. This Rams defense isn't great. They definitely don't have a ton of talent, and they struggle on defense, but the Raiders don't have a whole lot of guys who are going to maybe exploit that, and one fewer now with Devontae Adams moving on to New York. So give me the Rams there. Don't hate them as maybe a teaser look if you're going to look at things that way as well. I just think that this is, I just like the spot here for them. So that's what I'm going with, the Rams. Any other, before we send everybody home, any other thoughts that you guys had heading into the sports weekend? Anything else you wanted to cover, share, promote?
All good here.
Just before you go, that Rams game you were talking about, I was looking up. They're 32nd against and guess what the Raiders have now is an awesome tight end that's going to be a target funnel. So maybe look to play some player props on Brock Bowers this weekend versus that terrible tight end defense. And they're without one of their top safeties as well. So I think they do still get the W. I like that pick on the TENAMINT app. I think that Bowers will have a good week. He's going to eat. Time to eat.
I could see that. I could definitely see that for sure. Being him just kind of really being a target monster now. Now with, Adams has been out of the picture now with his hamstring injury that fortunately has been miraculously healed with a flight to New York. So it's crazy how quickly sometimes things can get healed just with a change of scenery. So, Bob, anything else coming up for you? I know we obviously have our college football preview that I mentioned. Anything else that you are looking for this weekend or getting involved with?
Just a bunch of college football. I know we got some best selections coming out on the CFB preview coming out later this week with that. And, just looking forward to a great slate of football. And, of course, we'll sprinkle in everything else as this is one of the best months of the year, and, of course, with college basketball coming up, it's just loaded from top to bottom from now for a while. And, we'll sleep in May, I guess.
We will sleep in May. We definitely will, or maybe not. Maybe we will keep things rolling into May. But it has been a pleasure. Very happy to, thankful that you guys could join us today. Reminder will be, I'm sure you guys will probably both be there for the Friday night space tomorrow. Kind of as the last weekend send off before we're right back into it, right back into the college football NFL vortex. So NBA right around the corner. NHL is already underway. They don't want you to know that. They try to, I guess, start their season as quietly as possible for some reason, but it's going. It's underway. So. We will have plenty more, a lot to keep an eye on, a lot of opportunities to continue to rack up points in the Tenement app, as we've said. So, guys, thanks again. Appreciate you joining. Give these guys a look. Make sure you check into the podcast, as I said, for Jeff. And that's it. That's the show. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Appreciate you.
All right. Yep. Have a good one.
Thank you.